I heard you say, in this world, all of our dreams become dares once we decide to reach for them. Mm-hmm. When did you start reaching?
These kind of relationships that get disturbed when we don't take the time to know what it is to sing, to know how to get close to the mic again, or to get something. Singing doesn't make it happen, or maybe.
It was almost like singing was just what I did as a younger than 11. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't have any like aspirations for what my voice could do or how I wanted to sound or anything. It was like, you know, my mom, Tammy, learn this song, you can sing this, you know, but this will be a good song for you to sing. My parents are really, you know, really supportive, like from you know, when I was young, but yeah, so it wasn't anything that I knew I could sing, so I just, you know, I would sing like I'm talking. Although I didn't talk for a long time. They say I was probably about almost 3.5, 4 years old before I started talking. But I was singing.
You were singing, but you weren't talking.
No, like I wouldn't talk to people. I would talk to my dolls.
Okay.
I could. I just wouldn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
Wouldn't. Yeah.
Did your parents attribute that to like shyness of some sort, or?
I don't know. I don't even think they questioned it too much.
Okay. Like, well, she don't want to talk to you, so just leave her alone. She ain't got to tell you why. It's autonomy in the 70s.
Exactly. Exactly.
I got you.
Yeah.
And this church, this house, your parents, you are from Aval. Right.
The way you say it. Ivor, Virginia.
Okay, thank you.
Ivor.
Ivor.
Yeah.
That's how you spell it, y'all.
Ivor.
I looked at that. I was like, is that a typo? Did they do that wrong? And then I had to go look.
Come on.
What is it like growing up there?
I felt free. I felt loved. It was always like community leaders around, cousins, a lot of trees and stumps.
Because it's the country.
I tripped over quite a few stumps in my life.
Okay.
I have the marks to prove it on my, you know. It was a wooden bridge behind my house, you know, that you could hear every car going. And then it was like Mack trucks in the front part because that land was divided. You got a road going through. It was all of my great-grandfather's land. But anyways, 460 that goes through, it's a highway.
Okay.
And I had a wooden bridge in the back. And then I had a train, it was a train track behind us too. So I had all this soundscape. I wasn't in the city, but I had the soundscape.
You heard it, okay.
Yeah, but it was just normal, you know.
How do you think growing up in Ivor impacted and shaped your life?
Oh my gosh, it keeps me grounded. It has made me, well, I think the fact that I honor my upbringing and I honor the people of that town, that's what really keeps me grounded.
Okay.
You know,
Now,
some people go away from small towns and they don't look back, or don't even, you know, care less about that.
Yeah.
But I think because I'm still close to the people in the town, that makes me, you know, feel, I don't know, like this sense of like gratitude. You know? Yeah.
The person you guys are listening to is singer, songwriter, mother, wife,
Yes.
entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I just met her today. Beautiful sister. Tamara Wellons, how are you?
I'm great.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I've been absorbing myself in the Wellons world, listening to your music and connecting with your words, even the visuals with your family. It's hard to tap into your music and to your media and not recognize immediately. Like, this sister is about spirituality. She's about growth. She's about, family.
Yeah.
And it all comes out in everything. And hearing about Ivor is like, oh, okay. How you feeling today?
I'm feeling great. Yeah. I'm feeling like I can't take this smile off my face.
Okay.
Yeah.
You released an album last year.
Yes.
It was last year, 2022,
It was
right?
last year. Mm-hmm.
Months of Sunday.
Yes. And I love how you say it.
Months of Sundays.
You said it like you were from Ivor.
But I'm from, hold on, it's Ivor. I said, so months of Sunday, months.
Yes.
Months.
Yes. Yes.
So you've done about, let me take a step back. I don't want to overlook your accomplishments. You've been out here doing your thing.
Yes.
You've been moving. You've been working with all types of people.
Yes.
And remixes, house vocalists. What has this journey of music and creation been like for you?
It's like a Ferris wheel.
I like that.
Like a Ferris wheel. Yeah.
Explain more.
It's like, getting on, the excitement of like lifting off. And then it's like you're being in this space where you can see the open sky, and it's just excitement. It's really exciting to be doing the work that I do in music, because it's like you create this tangible thing. Music is tangible once it's put on, recorded out of nothing.
Yeah.
I think that's just fascinating to me, so.
But it does, it comes out of your head too, right? Like it's.
Yeah,
the
but still it feels like it's like it's like the clouds. But it is out of my head.
You've done 4 studio albums, 4 albums. The first one was Life Is.
Well, I did an EP before Life Is.
Okay.
But it's not online. It was called Introducing Tamara Wellons.
Why didn't you put that out?
2003. 20 years ago.
Why haven't you put it out? This is back in the
know.
tape days?
It was old. But I had like a enhanced CD part. So it was like a little video in there. I don't know what happened. I don't know why I didn't put it on there. And I have a few hard copies left. That was the work that where Rome had
on that
okay.
On
that album. Yeah.
Because he told me I went on Bandcamp to look for it.
Yes, I don't think it's anywhere.
Okay.
I need to bring it up, bring it back. But yes, Life Is my first full-length album. Songs for Janie. Pretty. And then Months of Sundays. Months of Sundays. Months of Sundays.
You had a voice early.
Yes.
When did the writing come in?
Oh my gosh, in college. I got with some. Well, first of all, there was a lot of beat makers on campus, and I would try out, my songs with these guys. I'm thinking, I hooked up with this guy named Hezekiah.
Okay.
From Philly. He's amazing MC and producer, and he was friends with my friend who's from Delaware and the whole Philly crew. And so I went up there and we just started working on some songs. I wrote this. Did I record this? I did. It's on that first project. So I just thought that maybe I should try writing instead of singing other people's songs.
What was the first song you ever wrote?
It was called Finally. And I wrote it with this sister from Delaware, who was my best friend's sister, and Hezekiah.
What do you use music for in your life?
I've used it for different things. I've used it to get in a mood. That's like always.
Okay.
Yeah. Whether it's like, I'm ready to go to a party. I use it to calm myself down, to think, just to sing. I love songs that I can sing along to. So I use it for I use music to reach my soul.
I think there's been I noticed in your writing from the beginning to like Monster Sundays that you're getting a lot more personal.
Yeah.
What do you attribute that to?
I think being more accepting of myself in my life and not needing to, we were talking about it a little bit earlier about being vulnerable, like that, getting to that place where I am, that's what it is. It's just, I would dare say more braver. Which one is it? Brave?
Both. I think they both work.
Okay, it both works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were more brave when?
In my more confident and brave in my writing, and like in my, you said when? Coming from Pretty album to Months of Sundays.
Okay.
Yeah.
Were you getting your mother?
Mm-hmm.
You got a gang of kids.
Yes. A team.
You got a team, y'all. 6 kids, 22, blended family.
Yes.
Sounds like everything works beautifully from what I heard.
Yes.
Brother Kennard.
Yes.
Salute on that Pretty. What's the name of the intro, the song of the Pretty?
She Believed.
Yeah, oh bro.
Yes.
You killed that. You killed that bass on there. So thank you. I asked your wife about that when she came. I was like, who is that? She's like, that's Kennard.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, cool. But
yes.
Blended family. Mm-hmm. Lifes. You get some scabs, some bruises, you pick up, put down.
Yes.
Gotta keep going.
Yep.
Gotta keep the love.
Yep.
And sometimes we hold on to things a little bit longer than we should. Mm-hmm. And I can only imagine that living life, being a mom, a wife, connects you to things that you weren't necessarily connected to in the first 2 joints?
Well, actually, my son was in the studio with me when I was recording my first song, my first album, right? So a lot of my, like the song Your Face and Like Rain, that was about my daughter, which was my second child. So it seemed like every time I had an album, it was a baby coming too.
Gotcha.
But it really, it kind of informed my music, being a mom and a wife. And then going through a period where I wasn't a wife anymore. And that was the toughest time for me to kind of really express myself in music. So so I did that through, that's Songs for Janie. That's Songs for Janie was, it was inspired by Janie, who was the main character in Zora Neale Hurston's book, Their Eyes Are Watching God. But for me, it was more than just telling that story, her story. It was like a place where I could actually put myself in.
Okay.
To not have to really express what I was feeling and what I was going through. I use that as a place to express myself.
So you used music to express.
Yes.
Did you not want to tap in? So let me take Songs for Janie came out in 2012.
Yes.
And so you were.
But I started writing it in 2009.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you is it okay to say divorced?
Yes.
In 2000, were you divorced in 2012?
Yes, I was.
Okay.
But
So-
I wasn't when I started writing that.
In 2009.
Right.
So
Yeah.
did you change some stuff around or?
No, it just really it helped me. Like I needed a place to go. I needed somewhere to go. And so I went there with the music.
Would you consider yourself someone who is good at expressing their feelings?
Yes.
Okay.
I am good at expressing my feelings.
So when you were expressing your feelings through that period for Song for Janie,
Yeah.
where it needed to be, but then you were using the music for
I
a
was
different
kinda
form of it.
Behind the music a little bit.
Okay. So that's why I was asking
Yeah.
about sharing about were you hiding
Yeah.
feelings or what?
It was a little bit of placing my feelings there
Okay.
through this character, through
Gotcha.
Janie, and making it be about her and her story
Gotcha.
for me.
Understood.
But it was for me.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Divorce is hard.
It is. It is. It is hard. I think the leading up to it can be hard. But for me, when I'm, ready to go and move, that's not so hard.
Yeah. I was telling someone all these misconceptions about men. And I remember when I was going through my divorce, I don't know why,
Yeah.
but I was attracting random dudes who was going through divorce.
Really?
Random. I'll be on the train. I'll be on a plane.
Yeah.
I'll be all these random places, and I strike up
Yeah.
conversations with people, just not intentionally, but just, I'm a curious person by nature.
Yeah.
And it just so happens, I was on the plane crying with this dude sitting next to me,
Oh my God.
going through a divorce. And I was like, because we were talking about how only way to describe a divorce is going through this. It's very similar to a funeral.
Yes.
Something is dying.
Yes.
And
it's not coming back.
it's not coming back.
Yeah.
You have to mourn that. You have to, obviously you take inventory, you try to get what you need from the situation to learn for, you know, for the next thing or whatever. But
Yeah.
I was, I don't know what it was about me that was connecting with these other people, other men's energy, and how they, like I was saying before, I don't know what women think dudes be doing sometimes. Like we get a divorce, how we get ready to go. We were like, these brothers
Going
with some
through
of it
it.
in it. So it's I always empathize with people who have to go through that because and I didn't have any kids or anything like that, so I can't even imagine, you know, with like kids and stuff involved. So having an outlet like music to be able to share.
Man, it kind of kept me sane, I think.
How did talk to me about Pretty.
Pretty.
Right after Songs for Janie.
I wish I had named the album something else.
Why?
Because I don't think it said enough about what I was trying to put out in that album. So it was it's just a weird place in time. 2016 anyway, you know, but it was also this other side to it personally where, you know, I was about to be married and in love and in this place where I felt, you know, free. Again, in love.
Gotcha.
And so, but then there were all these things that were going on in the world that I felt like I wanted to say more about.
Okay.
You know, so yeah, and Pretty came about was like, okay, there's always a connection to Ivor in my music. Well, even with Songs for Janie, there was a little bit of connection there for me, because Eatonville, little town that Zora Neale Hurston, that story was based in, is very much, I felt like it was very much like Ivor.
Okay.
You know, so there's always this me coming to myself again, which, you know, from my hometown, from Virginia, that part that I feel like that will always be with me when I'm creating music. So Pretty was about how beautiful I saw this space, but how the reality of it was, you know, some ugly sides to it, you know, with just kind of being in America, really.
Yeah.
Yep.
And was that some of the like street names and how it like was juxtaposed against all of the stuff that was going on?
Yep.
Blackhead.
Blackhead Signpost
Is a street name.
Yes, it was a street name. They now changed, they took the black part off of it.
So it's just head?
It's Signpost.
Oh, Signpost.
They took the black head part off.
And there was another name that was real crazy.
Hanging Tree Road.
Is that still Hanging Tree Road?
It's still Hanging Tree Road. They say that it's not, and this is the part of whiteness that is truly ignorant and not sensitive to black people's stories, or not even care, you know. But they said that that road was kind of not a, that it didn't mean, that's not what it was meant for. It was supposed to be meant for something else. But there are things that are, that we are sensitive to.
Yeah.
That some people just don't care about.
And compound words such as hanging tree is one of those.
Yeah.
That,
Yeah, very much.
Yeah.
Given the history of Southampton County, with Nat Turner being a hero to some and a murderer to others for fighting against slavery, in the brutal way that he was, and the people not even associated with his the movement were killed in Southampton County. You know.
What do you think you would have named the album?
I don't know.
I like Pretty.
You like Pretty?
Yeah, I like, and especially in like hearing some of the videos that you did about it. And
yes. You know what? Now, okay. Now going back and remembering the question I asked people was, you know, what is pretty to you? What does that mean? What's underneath? I wanted to know. That was like the campaign for it. Thank you for mentioning that. Because that brings back all the memories about what I created leading up to that. Like I had these pretty parties where we would, you know, have this group of people would come together and we would talk about envisioning a more beautiful world. Dang, that was so good, actually.
I thought I was like, I like Pretty.
All right, now I have to take it back.
I do. Where my mind went when I was looking at it and listening was embracing, just because something's pretty doesn't mean it's not ugly in certain areas.
Right.
And when I was hearing you say that, what I was hearing you say was, it's what you focus on. And what you're focusing on is the prettiness of it.
Yep.
That's what I got from it. Excuse me. And that's what made it dope, because I was like, pretty ugly. In my head,
Right.
I was just going back and forth, and I was like, ugly can be pretty too, depending on how you look at it.
Yeah. I'm glad thank you.
So if stuff was going on in the world that
Yes.
was ugly.
Right. But my focus was on,
Yeah.
yeah.
What does what is pretty? What did it? Has your idea of pretty changed from then to now? Because I guess you were asking people what pretty meant.
Yeah.
Did you have a concept of it back then, and has it changed?
I was in the question as well. And I don't know that it's changed. But what I'm thinking about now is I had a poet on there from U Street. His name is Face.
Okay.
You know Face?
I know a DJ named Faith.
Well, in the making of Pretty, I reached out to him because I wanted to use one of his songs. I love like the aggressive way that he would, you know, present his poetry.
Okay.
And I wanted to make one of his poems a song to see if I could, you know, just to, one, he was kind of a radical poet, and I wanted something on my album that spoke to that side. But then after I met with him and we went through the songs and figured out I wanted Restitution was one of his songs that I did. One of his poems. And, but his name is Pretty Face. He was like, yeah, because I'm pretty, you know, like.
That's funny.
Yeah, and I don't think I knew that about him until we met up and we started talking. He was like, yeah, well, they call me Pretty. You know, I'm Pretty Face.
And okay.
And yeah, so it was a lot of things that did connect with this album being named Pretty. Yeah, and that was one of these projects where I felt like it's hard to quantify the success of an album now.
Okay.
Because streaming, you know, your work could get lost in it.
Yeah, for sure.
We're not making no money off of streaming, right? So my mindset was, I'm going to do everything to the build up of this. I'm going to create community around the making of the album, to, you know, who I had on the album. Like that was an important part to me. Like that was the prize.
Okay.
Of that album. I ain't even worry about the streaming so much because I, you know, What are we doing? What message am I giving? Yeah.
What are your thoughts about music nowadays?
I think it's so all over the place. My thoughts are, there's so much to choose from. It's like information.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have to be intentional about what you want to hear, what you want to listen to as a listener, you know. Find the communities and the people that listen to certain things, you know, what you listening to now. From, you know, I listen to my kids, you know, what they're listening to. I try to, this is me on the consumer side. On the maker side of it, I'm like, what is really in my heart that I want to put out, you know? So that might not be the best business decision, but, you know.
It rarely is.
Right.
At least from a short to mid-term standpoint.
Right.
Long term, maybe.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
do you, as a person who writes and creates, it's a vulnerable thing to do, to put yourself out there like that. And
Yes.
and as much as some of us hate to admit it, there is this fear of rejection kind of type thing sometimes. So, you know, you see certain people making headway with their career and doing certain things, but you know, you're intentional about what you want to do and where you want to go. Have you had to reconcile anything in your head or heart about like how your career has progressed or?
Yes. I decided that I was going to do what I wanted to do in music. And I also, I do kind of battle with this about how I'm going to make it financially sustainable. I battle with that still. But every so often around the Ferris wheel, I let it go and just decide that I'm going to make music, whether it's lucrative or sustainable or not. I'm going to make music, just like I'm talking to you, just like I'm walking. I'm going to make music.
Because you've been doing it since you was 3, singing and...
Yes. Yep. And it's always been somebody around me, though, to push me just a little bit. Like, girl, you can do this, you know. That's my angels.
Talk about that more, because I don't think people It's crazy how a little voice like that or a little nudge comes at that moment where it's like, I was getting ready to turn the lights off in this joint. And then somebody's like, nah.
Yes, it matters.
Tribe is critical. Like those voices.
It's critical. And I don't even think, that's why I do think it's spirit, because I don't know if people are actually doing that to knowing that it's going to change your life.
Yeah.
You just changed my life.
That's why
keep singing.
You got to listen.
Yes.
God is talking all the time.
Yes.
And it's not God. It's our interpretation of his voice that puts us in positions to miss. But every now and then there's that synchronicity. Things align in a way that says, oh, and that's beautiful. Thank you. And that's why I'm trying to connect with my intuition more and listen and listen. And It helps. It's a skill too, though, and it's something that I think it's a lot easier to do when you get older. Like as you get older, because you've made so many mistakes by not listening,
Right.
that you've got a large data set to draw from to make to be like, oh, okay, I need to do this.
Yep.
But it's actual practice, and maybe if that kind of practice had started maybe earlier. But as I'm older now, it's easier for me to just don't even question it. Like move with a certain sense of knowing.
Yes.
As opposed to thinking.
Right.
And they're two very different things.
Yeah. Man. I feel like that's where I am in my life. There's a part of me that's still doing a little thinking. And then there's the other part that's like, there's a knowing, like,
Same. That's, I call it fear sometimes. What do you think it is?
Yeah, it's fear. If I think about the thinking and what's there, it's fear. So when 2016, the next year, I started my company, which is Her Dreams Productions. And it was kind of like a little soft launch. It was really just me declaring myself as a business owner in a different form for like LLC, right? And kind of pulling together the things that I was going to do under that. But one of the things that I wanted to do with Her Dreams Productions was create this documentary on Ivo.
Okay.
So that's when I started, also like capturing stories, recording folks at home, getting super curious about what story I wanted to tell about Ivor, Virginia, Southampton County. And so now I've gotten to this place where the parts that I'm not sure about, the documentary was a part of that too.
Okay.
A lot of fear with me. I would take like little steps here and there, but I wasn't like going full in on it because it's an unknown territory to me, being a filmmaker. So that has now moved to like, I know that this is part of my life's work. I know this is what I have to do. So I'm kind of like kicking fear in the butt so I can move forward on that.
Do you typically manage fear well?
I don't know until after I've conquered a thing.
I like that.
I don't know.
I like that. What I think is really cool about that is we lie very well. And sometimes it's not until you're out of the lie where you realize you were lying.
Yeah.
Because you can convince yourself of something if you tell yourself it long enough.
Yeah.
And sometimes I sit and I watch somebody and say, no, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing this. And you sit there and you watch them, and then a year later they'll come back, oh, I was doing that.
Yep.
Because they couldn't. So and fear is one of those things that just creeps. It's just a part of life in a way that you can't recognize that, oh, I was moving in fear.
Yep.
At that moment. I didn't even realize I was moving in fear.
Oh my gosh.
I was moving in fear.
Yep.
And I'm trying to be more mindful of moving in fear, but to the point that you make, sometimes I don't know if I'm in fear till I'm out of the fear.
Right.
Oh, I was being fearful.
Oh, that's what that was. Yeah.
It's interesting how so many of us are going through the same thing. Men, women, as much as there's all these wars between men and women and all of this and that,
which is crazy.
We're all just getting through it.
Yep.
Is Ivor known for something specifically? Other than
No.
being the birthplace of Tamara Wellons? Yeah.
Well, no, it's not, but it's a part of what I want to do. Like, and there's some story, like I'm doing this story with Ivor in a way that I'm not gonna say what it is that I'm trying to get there. I want to just do the filming, collect the stories, examine that, and then let that story surface. So I don't have all the answers to what Ivor is known for. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Yeah. Not yet. We do have the oldest African-American church in Southampton County, which is a little significant, being Nat Turner is, 16 miles from Ivor, that where the insurrection was in Cortland was called Jerusalem at the time. And
Wow.
him being a preacher, being able to read and gather people together because, he had this ability to preach and read. Him having visions. I don't know, there's just so much there's something there, but I don't know exactly what part of this story is going to be told.
It's so interesting. I asked you, how did growing up in Ivor shape you? And the question, the way you answered it, hearing you tell the story and how much you're connected to that place, I get a feeling like it means so much to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a connection in your music.
Yeah.
Are your parents still there?
My mom is still there. My dad passed 2 years ago. Yep.
Yeah, my dad passed. How many siblings?
3 sisters.
Okay. All girls?
All girls.
and at your house you got 1 boy and 5.
Yeah, well, they're not all at the house.
I mean,
They're
I got you.
But yes.
Yeah. Wow. Were you a dad?
A lot of women.
Are you? Where were you in the lineup, age-wise?
I'm a baby.
So were you a daddy's girl?
I don't know. I think my 2 older sisters were more daddy's girls.
Okay.
But I don't think that what I had with my dad, like he was very vulnerable with me, very honest. I don't know if he was like that with Tia and Tony and my sisters. But he shared some things with me that, they were very open. Yeah, so we had these real deep conversations.
Did that level of vulnerability in your dad? Because I know before when we were talking offline, you were talking about like what your thoughts were about like little boys.
Oh yeah.
When you were little, like,
Yeah.
so as you got older, did that kind of like shift what you felt a man's emotional capacity could be?
Yeah, I always looked at my dad as separate from the other men and boys.
Okay. So he was
just different, Yeah, and I knew that where I felt like or thought boys didn't have feelings, I never thought that with my dad though.
Because he wasn't a boy, he was your dad.
He was my dad, yeah. He, very humble and silly. Humble and silly and just, kind of fascinating.
So the video I watched,
Yeah.
where your dad was talking.
Yes.
Oh.
That was 2017.
17?
Yeah, 17. Yeah. Dad, he was just, I mean, he knew my songs. So maybe, I don't know. I don't know if this constitutes as a daddy's girl, but he was really into me.
I think
He was into me.
I think a part of the definition is, well, no, because a part of it is your piece to him too, right?
Yes. Yeah.
I need to talk about this month of Sundays.
Okay.
I am moved.
Really?
Yeah. How'd you come up with the name?
You know, when you haven't seen someone in a long time, there's a saying that says, I haven't seen you in a month of Sundays. And 2020 was that period for us.
Mm-hmm.
And I took a play on that, as well as what Sundays were for me. They're sacred. It's a sacred time for me in a lot of the world. And but I wanted to have that every day of my week, have a little bit of Sunday every day of my week. So there was this special thing about Sundays and that sacred time, sacred space that I wanted to sing about, which is kind of what the Love on Me is about, but also this time, this concept of time and being away from people, but being connected to yourself. That's what Month of Sundays was, or is. Yeah.
The Love on Me, did you feel you were at a point where you weren't loving on yourself?
I think I go through periods of that, where I have to remind myself, or I get reminded that I need to kind of focus on myself a little bit. I do a lot of looking out.
For others?
Mm-hmm. Looking out, through these portals called eyes.
Gotcha.
Like, seeing something or wanting to be a part of things. I love being a part of things, right? But there are times where I have to remind myself that I need to kind of focus in. Yeah, so I write these songs for the world, but they really they're for me.
Yeah.
Like I have to remind myself with my own songs.
It was
Yeah.
the writing was, I'm trying to think of a word. It was, I got the feeling that you were tapping into something that that I didn't feel you were tapping into with like Pretty.
Yeah.
And I listened to a little, I didn't get to listen to all of the song for Janie.
Songs for Janie, yeah.
Yeah, but, and even the first joint, it's getting old is real.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Our relationship to time is shifting.
Yes.
And it's moving faster.
Yeah.
And it's so important for us to try to slow down sometimes to acknowledge what's there. But in most cases, what's there is us.
Right.
Our feelings, our accomplishments, what we did, what we didn't do. And that's what I felt like Love on Me was, like just saying, I just need to slow down and just
Acknowledge myself.
acknowledge myself.
Wow. Thank you for listening and getting it in the way that you have, because you put these words on paper and record them, and sometimes, you don't know who's listening.
Yeah. And Deborah had a song on her album about time. And we had the very, a very similar conversation. And, we thought, for a long time that we had a lot of time.
Right.
And the reality is, the older you're getting, the faster the time will spend, the faster the time will feel, because it represents a smaller percentage of what we've lived. So it wasn't just the words, it wasn't just the production. Sitting, listening. I start crying. I pick up the phone and I call somebody who both of us know. What I was crying about was the string arrangements.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
I called Piranha Head.
No way.
And was like, bro, we have a 15-minute moment to where we're both crying. He shared some stuff about what he was doing and what was happening in his life around the time of that album. And I was like, dude, I felt you, bro.
Yeah.
And he was like, when he called, he was like, you have no idea. You're calling at the right time.
Really? That's what happened.
Yeah.
Yes.
There was something with him, and I called him at the right time, and then we just called. He was like, yeah, please tell that's my sister. That's my sister. Call my sister.
That's my brother.
He wanted me to let you know.
Gosh.
So
I didn't know that was your friend. Well, we just met. We just met. So.
Beautiful guy. He is one of the absolute sweetest.
Yes.
And I mean this in a very manly way.
Right.
He's one of the sweetest men I've met. When you God bless you, brother. But the string arrangements put it on a whole nother level.
It did. It did.
It was like tapping something.
Yes. 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 Yeah.
Humble?
Yeah.
Humble. I haven't been moved like that by a song in a long time. And we talked about this a little bit before.
Yeah.
You wrote the words.
Yep.
Your son, Daniel.
Yes.
And your daughter, Trinity.
Yep. Yep.
Talk to me about how y'all came up with that.
Wow. For me, I had jotted down some notes about my niece and my sister. And I didn't know how to express the pain that I was feeling about them and their relationship. And so I wrote down some notes about it. We walk around feelings, build castles. I got to sing it to remember.
Please do.
We walk around feelings, build castles round the pain and look away. At the surface we will play The shallow end's a safer place to stay. So it's like everybody's upset, walking around the pain and looking away from it, not really dealing with it. And I'm talking generational pain. Playing at the shallow end, never going too deep. If you go too deep, you know, it's like you won't know me there. You don't even know yourself sometimes if you get deep there. So that's where I was going with some of my notes and scribblings and writing. And my daughter, I called in my son and Daniel and Trinity. And I was like, I need to finish writing this song. So let's sit down and come up with something. And so me and Trinity, we were just flowing. Like, she's an amazing writer. And they don't know this about themselves. They don't even know that they're amazing. Even it's like me telling them it's not enough yet. They're gonna have to discover it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But my son, I was like, I don't have a melody for this. So he went down in the basement and he came back with the complete melody for the verses. And me and Trinity were like, yes, this is it. Like a melody for a verse can tell so much of the story. And he was able to like create this melody that fit with what we needed to say for that song.
Who did the production? I forgot.
Dave Lindsay.
Okay.
Yes, that's my brother too. Yep.
The words are beautiful.
Thank you.
And the tone, the vibe, and
yes,
the strings, and it compelled me, like I said, to call Piranha Head and be like, dude,
yeah.
you're amazing.
And I didn't want strings on that song at first.
Oh.
I know. He was like, believe me, Tammy. Believe me, you want strings.
See?
He's like, I'm just going to put a little bit here and there. And when I heard it, I was like, oh.
And they say women don't listen. No, I'm so glad you.
No.
I'm so glad you.
He is a blessing.
Yeah, that.
And Janie coming in with the poem.
Oh yes.
Yes.
Who is this sister?
She's an amazing young poet. She was like the 2019, I think, poet laureate, youth poet laureate of Prince George's County.
What's her name?
Her name is Janie Cisse.
Is that her? Is that her actual name?
Her real name.
Janie Cisse.
Yep.
Yeah. When my wife was listening to it, she started crying.
Yeah. Yep.
You mentioned the shallow end, never wanting to go deep.
Yep. The shallow end is safer for people.
And watching your sister and niece do that, did that trigger anything for you in like how you manage going deep?
Yes, absolutely. Because you can go deep. Going deep by yourself is one thing, but when you have a relationship with someone, and there can be a lot of fear with going deep with that person. Just kind of speaking your truth about what you experience. So I feel like in life, I'm a witness and a watcher to a lot of things that have happened, like in my family, but just like in the world. Like I feel like I'm just a watcher and a witness to a lot of things. And And I end up, those things really, really inform my writing too.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I feel deeply about them, even though it's not, I'm not experiencing the thing. I can feel really deeply about something. And so, yeah, it moves me.
And to be able to translate that in a way that resonates even to another witness
Yes.
and watcher.
Yeah.
Because you're almost like you're telling a story.
Yeah.
Because it felt very much like it was yours.
Wow.
I felt you were talking about your story. I mean,
Like it was about me.
yeah.
No. But, you know, a friend of mine, mutual friend, told me that I am Rissy. She said, you know, you're a transporter. I was like, what? I used to sing these old jazz songs, and she was like, you really just transported me to 1950s, you know, with your voice. So I am recognizing that in myself and accepting that that is a part of my gift.
How did it feel to receive that?
Receive which?
Good question.
Yeah.
Because it helps me refine my question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know you're dope?
That's an interesting question. Maybe.
Because I think that's what I was trying to ask you by asking, where Rissy Cat was, let me share. I have to filter through so many voices.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I'm not successful at getting to the core. Because like there's one voice that is a tad bit louder than the other. So I might get past the you ain't shit voice. I'm like, okay, good, I got past that one. And then it's like, you could do better. No, you ain't shit. You never do anything right. You could do better.
True.
Like they're filters.
Oh my goodness.
That I have to go through. It's getting easier.
Yeah.
As I'm getting older.
Yes.
But it's still something that I have to acknowledge.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to do is reduce the time, reduce the filters.
Yes. Yeah.
This is kind of like the abstract stuff I was telling you about
Yes.
earlier. I'm trying to reduce the filters to where there's something that I know that I'm not acting like I know. I'm not moving
like
like I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I got these filters.
Yep.
So humble. Why humble? Why that word for the title?
Right. You're asking the questions that I ask myself with these titles sometimes. You know, we're pretty and humble. But humble, when you, man, that song kind of, it does touch me. But when you go, I look at the humble spirit as one of the purest forms of humanity. And humble, that song is like reaching into the deep parts of like I imagine almost every person's experience in life. Like you're gonna feel some type of pain, you know, in this life. So Humble to me is like, like I don't even know how. I'm trying to find the words to describe it. Actually, I can't.
Because
right
here's
now.
what helped me. So learning to be humble enough to be human.
Yes.
And that's some words in the song.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, learning to be humble enough to be human. So if I'm not, what was preventing me to be human? And I was wondering, was that the title of the word, the title of the song?
Did it come from that part?
Well, did it?
No, it didn't.
Oh, okay. Okay. But
Yeah.
I was thinking that was used to kind of like imply getting off your high horse.
Yeah, pride.
Pride.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. It's like staying in that shallow end, building a castle around the pain and looking away. That is prideful behavior.
Yeah.
You know, that's a lot of ego. And, you know, that is the opposite of being humble. You know.
As a mother of daughters, how important is it to demonstrate the qualities of like knowing you're dope and wanting, because you look at your daughters, you know what they are, right? And I can only imagine as a mother that it would pain you for them to think that they're less than what you know they are.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the same would be said for our parents looking at us. Somehow, some way,
Yeah.
we still end up getting into these points where we have these filters and these voices.
Yes. Yeah. So true. Which makes it hard for me to answer the question. Do you know that you're dope?
Is it important to invite your kids on your journey of transparency and going deep? Is that something that parents should invite their kids on?
Yes, they should. Yes. That would solve a lot of issues between, you know, some teen or young adult behavior in their parents. I would think so. And early, too. Early on, not just when they're 13 or 14, you know, when they're 10.
I always
You know,
wonder.
letting them see you cry.
Don't let them?
Letting
let
them
them.
see you. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you see your parents cry?
Only at church. Church and a funeral, you know. Yeah. And I used to question, I'm like, when my mom would cry in church, like, oh, I wonder where those tears coming from? What is she crying about, you know? Yeah.
How have you enjoyed being a mom?
I love being a mom. I love it. Yeah. There's some stages that I wished would hurry, you know, and I think those stages are done from what I know now.
What do you mean? Tell me more.
So there's the infant toddler stage where that is, I just feel like they're, to have somebody, a little human being to cuddle and hold and care for. I really love that period.
Okay.
There were like that 9 to 12-year-old period. That was a little awkward as a parent for me. Sometimes I'm like, okay, go. I need you to be independent, but you're not.
Because you're 9.
Because you're 9. I need you to do this for yourself. Because I don't feel like doing this,
You ain't working yet?
Right.
Like, well, Mom, I'm in the 4th grade.
Come on.
Are you, you have a good relationship with your mom? So are you looking forward to having that kind of relationship with your daughters when she's your age and you're your mom's age?
Yes. I parent with that in mind, like from when they were young. I parented like I'm raising these young girls and Daniel to be my friends when I get older. Mm. I want to be around them, so let me raise them to be the people that I'm going to enjoy spending time with when I'm older. Yeah, because I enjoy my mom, and I talk to her a lot. I'm surprised she's probably going to call me in a minute just because I mentioned her name.
Just talk to her up.
Yeah.
What is you're doing the Yams thing?
Yes.
Talk to me about that.
Yams is Young Artists and Musicians Zone, and it's a new program that I created the beginning of this year out of this need to have some cultural arts enrichment in this one school. And it was a no-brainer for me. It's like what I wanted to teach because I wanted to have something super creative, having artists in the space like poets, singers. Deborah is actually one of the teachers.
Go ahead, sis.
Yep. And Sani, Cisse, the other poet, okay. Patrick Washington, and so I got these amazing people, and Desiree Jordan, amazing people going into the school to share what they do with pre-K through K. So yeah, I wanted to create something where students felt like they could have this space to be creative, and they didn't have to work towards a A or B, or perform even.
Yeah.
But they will learn the skills of performing, but they're not like expected to, produce something from this. So it's like it's a little freedom space. Oh, and I wanted the curriculum to be centered around the African American experience. So that was the big piece for me too.
What does that look like?
That looks like learning poetry from our great Black poets.
Understood.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Don't get more simple than that.
Yep. I mean, when I used to teach, I would always find myself like going into Black history and going, getting these kids. They had so many questions. They wanted to know more, but that wasn't a part of the curriculum. It wasn't a part, but they were so curious. Well, how did this happen? Okay, so I want to be able to answer those questions, feed that curiosity, and I think arts is the best way. The arts, music, poetry, that's the best way to do that.
What music is on the horizon?
I've been talking about this. Maybe if I keep talking about it, the words for the music will come. But I want to write a blues album.
Ooh.
I want to do some blues.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Why? What's calling you?
People think, well, not people, me. I used to think, why sing the blues, right? But I realized that is what, like, sometimes you need to hear the blues, hear the stories. First of all, I love the blues because it's like, it's storytelling at its finest.
At its finest. At its finest.
Yeah. So I want to get good at it. My dad loved the blues, so that's one reason it's calling me. And he used to play the blues. He could make up songs right on the spot.
Did he play the guitar?
He played guitar. Yeah, that's
Okay.
me playing the guitar. He played guitar. And he loved the blues. So it's a part of me wants to honor him, in that way.
I loved like Johnny Guitar Watson, Johnny Taylor. I love blues.
Jimmy Reed.
Yeah.
I feel like also I'll get to know my dad in that generation a little bit closer by exploring the blues, listening, feeling it, writing it. Yeah, I want to get to that place where I can really improvise and tell the story rhythmically like they do in the blues. Like I want to be able to refine my craft.
Yeah. Is Etta James considered blues?
I think so. Yes. Yeah.
I'd rather go blind.
That's the blues. Woo.
Love that song. She sang that joint live and she's sweating all over the place, makeup gone.
Yes.
Left 2 weeks ago and she just.
Yes.
That's when you see, cause I feel like that's another layer. That's totally.
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay, so blues album.
Yeah. Or I'm also open to, my intention is the blues album. I'm also open to what comes in that.
So you've been on a spinner joint,
Yes.
a
Well, it was kind of the other way around.
spinner was on your joint.
Yeah.
He remixed your joint.
Yes.
Okay, my bad.
And he's getting ready to remix another one too.
How does it feel when somebody comes and just like wants to remix your joint?
It's so excited.
Really?
Yes. I'm like, yes. Yes. Yeah, and to have people dancing to your music, like.
Now the one brother you do too is Ezell.
Ezell, yes.
He's cold.
He is.
He's cold. He's cold.
Yeah, from the Dominican Republic. Yeah, he's amazing.
Let me see.
He wow. I really enjoy working with him.
Really?
Yeah, we need to do something again together.
So
Really enjoy.
are you jumping on his joints? No, he's remixed some.
He's remixed, and we've also written songs together, meaning he'll write the music. Maybe he's for In My Lifetime, he wrote the lyrics to that, and I recorded that in New York with him. So I did more like the vocal production, the performance of the song.
Osunlade,
Osunlade, yes.
Roger Sanchez.
Yeah. John Beltrain, who Rome had introduced me to like some years ago, and then it was just wild how my music has gotten circulated in that DJ producer space.
Did y'all do something together?
John Beltrain?
Yeah.
He remixed a song that I have called, did he do Broken Wing? Or he did something. He did something.
I missed that. So Spinner's getting ready to redo one of your joints.
Mm-hmm. But Carla, so the record label is called Ultra Records, and that's who I worked with from my first album. Yeah, with Ocean Lade and Carlos Mena. Actually, that's where I met Piranha Head down when I met Ocean Lade and that whole crew. This house music, in that house music world, that's where I met Piranha Head.
Yeah, he heavy in that joint.
Yeah. And we were like, oh, we got to work together. This is like years. We're going to work together. We're going to do something. And I saw him on Instagram, and I was like, and he put me through. So we did like this was in 2020. And I was like, yeah, let's do some work. I had an Instagram thing, and I let him come into my, what do you call it when you?
Accept?
No, like you're doing a live and you invite somebody.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I've done like 2 lives.
I had a moment.
I've done like 2 lives.
Yes.
Yeah, I have done it many.
Yeah.
So y'all, okay.
So he came into my live. I had COVID. I was in the bedroom with my husband stuck. He was like, just go live. You need to do something.
Yeah.
I went live. Piranha Head, I saw him. He came in on my live. We were just talking. Hey, brother, so good to see you. Miss you, all this stuff. And he was like, what you working on? And I was like, well, I got a few things I'm working on. Send me some stuff. And that began the whole thing with Months and Sundays.
Wow.
Yes. Yep.
Crazy how that works.
Yep.
His contribution really, I don't know what you call it, but it added an ingredient that it probably would have been perfectly fine without it.
No.
If you never heard it, but now that it's there, it's like, oh.
You couldn't unhear
you can't
strings.
Like at all.
It's beautiful. I mean, his work, yeah. And I had been listening to this song, didn't know it was Piranha Head until like months after I've been listening to it, and I was like, oh, this my boy.
What song was it?
It was with Molly Music and Jasmine Sullivan.
Huh.
Mm-hmm. Loved by You. And those strings was just like, oh, they just took me somewhere. And that's what he has the ability to do. So he will always be an ingredient in my music from this fourth. We're married to.
Fourth hither fourth.
This fourth.
Who have you been listening to lately that makes you feel like that?
So this is what I was just going to mention, that he did some work on Victoria Monet's album. I love that album.
I haven't listened to it yet.
It's amazing. It's just good. It's just good. She reminds me of when I first started. I was listening to Anita Baker and Whitney Houston, the greats and all. And then when Mary J. Blige came on the scene, I was like, oh my gosh, my prayers have been answered. I didn't even know I was praying for, because I just went crazy over Mary J. When I was a teenager. I was like, thank you. This is what I needed. And I can just imagine that is I would say that's how I would imagine Victoria's Monet is for some folks out there.
Who like music.
Yes. Like, oh.
Who else? Victoria?
I'm listening to this woman. I can't pronounce her last name, but her first name is Zoe. And her album came out a couple of years ago. It's called Yellow. I like Yeba's album helped me year before last when my dad passed.
Okay.
And it was a grief album. So I needed that.
She got that kind of voice too.
Yeah, she does.
Powerful.
Mm-hmm. Powerful. So I like listening to that this time of year. So I have like kind of my times of year.
Like, is it like for holidays or the time of your father passing, or?
Oh, this was about the time that my dad passed, like this October.
Okay.
And that's September, October. And that's when that album came out. So the last couple of years, you know, that's my go-to whenever I need to feel, or I just want to sing. I love singing along with her. I was listening to a lot of Beyonce.
Are you a Beyonce fan?
I am.
Okay.
No, I hadn't always been.
So you're becoming a fan. Or
I have become.
You become a fan.
I have become a fan.
It's interesting because I think some of the people in our age range have actually started kind of getting over it, I guess. From some of the conversations I've had from the women. I don't know. I don't know. It's weird.
Crazy.
So you like her last album? I love it. The one before that?
Yes. I love Black Parade and I love Formation. I loved this Renaissance, especially with the community that she kind of focused on with that.
Yeah.
Loved it. And it was very affirmational. And I think my daughters probably have a little influence on me with her.
Okay. Because they dialed in.
Yeah, they dialed in.
Is being married to a creative helpful in your creativity?
Yes. And I think it's because of the creative that I'm married to.
Okay.
He sees a lot in me. And he loves me. And he has this yearning to create and do more. So that kind of matches my vibe a lot.
It's awesome to hear a woman say that her husband feels that way about her.
Yeah.
I am a proponent. Proponent for marriage.
Proponent.
For marriage. For black men.
Yeah.
Being faithful to black women.
Yeah.
Making it work. Fumbling, figuring it out.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that people gotta, part ways and everything, but I don't think that's a fault of the institution of marriage.
Me either.
And I'm gonna always advocate for that.
Me either.
In my conversations, because it's just, I think it's
beautiful.
I know how I'm a man, so I know how men are.
Mm-hmm.
And I know the value of a woman. And how that type of love, and all of the ways in which a woman's love shows up for a man and influences. It's not just it's not one dimensional.
Right.
Like y'all love in a full, complete way.
Yeah.
And a lot of it's who you are. It's not. It's like you're not even trying to do it in some ways, because God is working in all of it. It's like even when you're frustrated, even when you're angry, like there's something there that can be gleaned for advancement to some degree or another. It's weird how it's shifting my understanding of love and commitment.
Yeah.
And how disagreements or like these intersections of not being able to see eye to eye is really just an opportunity to reflect love in a different way.
Mm-hmm. Oof, yes, that's powerful, what you just said.
But I know it starts with a man and a woman.
Mm-hmm.
Let me rephrase that. I don't know what I'm saying, but you know what I'm saying.
I know what you're saying.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like when I went through my being married having children, the family, all of that, and then getting into this space where I'm single, divorced, single, right? There were a lot of things kind of pointing to me to say, well, this is, the single mom thing. There was even groups for single moms, and I was approached about one of them, and I was like, it wasn't necessarily, it was like a podcast type thing.
Okay.
And I was like, yeah, I'm single, but I'm not gonna be single for long. I am somebody's wife. Like I am a wife. Like I knew that even in this where I was single, didn't have a love interest, didn't know where I was gonna be. I knew that I was gonna be a wife. Like I know that was a part of my life's journey.
What is it about you that makes you know that?
I think I am better as a human being in a marriage. Again, that whole reflection thing, that's like you're forced to grow when you're in a relationship like that. And growth is very important to me. Personal growth is very important to me. Yeah, and I have this, for my children's sake, I wanted a certain type of unit. And that's with a husband.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was super important to me. Yeah.
And I know guys who are better in relationships. I think when we really sit down and think about it, most of us are. Like we're being lied to, I just feel. And I get somebody can come on here and say, they're single and full, and
Yeah.
I just don't buy it. I just think you lying to yourself and you don't know you lying. You don't know you're lying until you out of the lie.
Right. You be like,
Just like with the fear. It's
yes.
If we're meaning-making machines, then we can justify just about
anything.
So,
Right. Like I'm cool. I'm good.
I'm going to speak for the pairing of humans.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand. I think it's important, especially for men, to see other men talking about the value of relationship and how it really is beneficial, as opposed to seeing it as a prison.
Right. Right. Whew.
Because all we seeing now is like money over everything. Don't get married. Have a good time.
Yeah. That's not it.
And there's time for that, but the time for that is short.
Right. That's not all of it.
Relative to everything else that you gotta, I feel, do. And like I said, I know men, and I know if you leave a man to a man on devices, it's like with the Bible when he says, the guy says, I can't remember, he was saying, you want to do your own thing, it turn you over to yourself. And a man turned over to himself
Could be dangerous to himself.
Yeah, and others.
Yeah, and others. Yeah.
And others.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say I had a list. I did before I.
A list of what?
Of things that would satisfy me.
Oh, let me hear the list. Okay, I'm ready now. All right, what's the list?
This was called My Conditions of Satisfaction. So there, I learned this from my coach, actually.
Coach?
My personal coach.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So, and a whole bunch of studying and reading books and being in community with people who are trying to be better. Mm-hmm. So I have my list, my conditions of satisfaction. One, this person had to like know God for himself, like, and I ain't gonna go through the whole list, but
how many items were on there?
I had like 12.
Okay.
Yeah, 12 things. Like I really wanted to. He had to love, like, wanted to be in a family, because I have 3 children. Wanted to be in a family and would love my kids, and love his children too. That he's demonstrating that. I had to be physically attracted to this person, and other things. That was very, some things are very important to me. Faithful, and some other things.
At least it ain't got Cheesecake Factory on the joint.
What's funny though? Kennard took me. We went out on a date. Our first date, it was at Tandoori Nights. It was like an Indian restaurant. But you know where we went afterwards?
Cheesecake Factory?
We did.
For just cheesecake?
Yes.
Yeah. Listen, my only issue with Cheesecake Factory is the same issue I have with outlet malls.
What's that?
I have overload when I got too many options.
Oh, yeah, they do have a lot of options.
I like to
But
have...
their food is really good.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's good.
And the cheesecake is amazing.
Banging. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Hence the name, It's the factory.
So I think that's the kind of list I think that is know God for himself, family oriented, love my kids. Like,
I know, but I'm telling you, I had to write this list though. You would think that would be like a no-brainer, right?
but did you have to write the list because your coach was saying you had some other wild stuff on there, or
no?
Was Cheesecake Factory on there?
No, it wasn't like that. I had to write the list because I needed to get clear for myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And one of the things I learned about that list was everything that was there, I needed to be.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah. I needed to be.
Were you?
Yeah. Yes. That's why I got my man, Kennard.
So, but it would have been okay if you weren't, though.
Weren't
all of those
weren't
things.
all of those things. It wasn't like I set out to be. I just had to take a look at why those things were important. And it was a bit about attraction too. What I was attracting, because you attract the thing that you are.
Yeah.
So it was like a little practice in being that thing so that I can attract it. Mm-hmm. And I sing about that in Behind the Veil. Sorry. Gosh, something in my eye. If you're looking for love, you be it. If you're looking for peace, be it.
So I think that's a good way to think about what it is that you want and then ask yourself if you're those things. And if you're not those things, then when you meet someone who are those things and that you're not, at least have the courage to communicate that you're not those things.
Yeah.
And let them know that this is something that you're working on and that you're struggling with and that you're looking to, but at least, because for me, one of my, if I were to write a list, one of the things on there would be what your relationship is to your shit. I want to know that.
Dag on, yes.
I want to know that, and I want to know how we fight. But what your relationship is to your shit and your ability to communicate it. So if you know you struggle in this area,
right,
just say you struggle in that area. You don't have to solve it.
Yeah,
Don't.
That's some real grown up stuff.
Yeah, because for me, one of the things I think we end up getting into sometimes in relationships is it becomes transactional after a while.
Yeah,
and it's really because something is happening in the exchange where we're not honoring something. And a lot of times what we're not honoring is what's there. And like if I'm coming to you like dirty draws, snotty nose,
right.
line all messed up, like I'm just in bad shape, like as a dude, like in my mind, that's what coming to a woman, like you get to see it all.
Yeah.
You get to see it all.
Yeah.
And that's vulnerable for a man.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
I'm very conscious of the fact that you would judge me if you saw that. And more than likely, no one else has seen it. So we're going to get into this marriage thing. You're going to see that. Now you're going to start cutting me up into pieces because there's parts that you don't like. And then in return, because I think you're going to do it to me, I'm doing it to you. And now we're not honoring or acknowledging who the whole person is.
Yeah.
And we never just say that.
Yeah.
It all is hidden around what you wouldn't do for me or what I wanted or what I didn't get. And
Yep. Yeah.
and
It's messy.
I think it's just my long-winded way of just saying my relationship with my wife is the only time like somebody ever told me that I didn't have to change. Never been told that my whole life. And the first time somebody told me I didn't have to change is when I wanted to change.
Kennard told me that the thing that he loves most about our marriage is that he can completely be himself. And that was before the marriage, actually. But he was like, I can completely be myself with you. And I'm like, well, who else would you be? Who else would you be? But
What do you think he meant by that?
just what you said.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, about bringing his stuff, you know.
Do you
all
think
of it.
women hear that when a man says that?
If they're present to their man, then yes. Yes.
Because like that little girl who didn't think men had feelings,
Yeah.
I think it's women, grown ass women
If they haven't done any work.
who think who think that, or
Yeah.
or that's who think we lack the breadth
Of
emotional,
yeah. Yes.
that we actually are tapping into and connecting with, and it's beautiful because sometimes the right, how do I say that, love creates the space that allows us to do that. And sometimes women have to create the space a little longer than they feel they should.
Yeah.
But that's because we haven't had it. But in the same way, we as men have to create that space for y'all a little longer.
Yeah.
Because, but it's that give what you want kind of thing. Because all men ain't been doing right by women.
No, they haven't. Even, you know, the women who have given them space to do it. But I was commenting that if the woman has done the work to understand, to see men, then I think that it's possible for this space to be created where women get how important it is to, or how beautiful it is for a man to say that they can be themselves, or they're complete, you know, they can be completely who they are.
Yeah.
With them, you know. When I say I did some work, I've done some work to get there. And the work that I did had me see all men differently, not just like a romantic partner. It had me see my son and my dad differently. Like, I appreciated in my growth who men are. Like, so first, honest, giving, wanted to be that, like, protector. Like, I started, through my growth, I started to see that in all men, especially the ones that were in my life, you know. And that happened right before Kennard actually came into my life. You know, that growth that I'm just so grateful for, you know.
So you got to see that before your dad passed too.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Yep. And tell him, too, you know, that I honor him and I appreciate him, you know. You can never say thank you enough.
Not to a dad.
Nope, not
or
to
parent.
a dad. Nope. Yep, or parent. Yeah.
Well, I can't thank you enough
Oh.
for coming on and sharing and giving me an opportunity to connect with your spirit.
Mm-hmm.
It's powerful.
Thank you.
And in the same way that
Yeah.
you know you're a wife, guess what?
You know that you're a husband?
I need you to know you're dope.
Oh, I wasn't even thinking that. Got you.